For the fifth and final time, 100 Thieves are participating in a League of Legends World Championship. It's safe to say the 4 prior to this haven't exactly gone well. But given that this is the second to last Rendezvous I will ever film, the next one I will film after we have been eliminated from Worlds and after the program is officially set and done, because we'll have Good Morning North America going on throughout the entire thing. There's no reason to separate out 100 Thieves onto its individual day. Unless any sort of major news were to happen, this is the second to last one, officially. So let's do it. One final time, for old time's sake. Everything you need to know about 100 Thieves League of Legends at Worlds, and whether you should have faith or not.
These beautiful things that I've
As always, if you don't mind, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk about the retroactive of this entire series, the Rendezvous before when it was called TFC, next week, but you'd be amazed how far things have come since the very beginning of this, and that's all thanks to all of you tuning in to watch, to chirp in the comments, to literally tune in whenever things are going at their worst, to hate watch. Hey, it's all part of the game, and it's all part of the fun. So, shifting this officially to Worlds. Making it to Worlds in your first ever year in the LCS is not a normal feat. I think C9 might be like one of the only other teams that's ever done it like that, and it's a league company. The problem was the first year for 100 Thieves at Worlds was not pretty. Going into the tournament, there were a ton of issues with the team, most notably with the whole Cody Sun Rikara issue at ADC. Rikara was going to be a rookie trying out for, well, not even trying out, but just playing as an ADC for 100 Thieves at Worlds. It's where the memes of like 100 Thieves roster moves started to become a bit of a problem. And when you look back on this group in hindsight, it doesn't look all that terrible considering the 2 losses that they had that they went 0-2 against were Fnatic and Invictus Gaming, both of whom made it to the finals. But obviously hindsight's 2020. Let's look at the individual weeks. They did exactly what you expect a North American team to do, which was beat the minor region team and then lose to the 2 major regions. And unfortunately, well, what happens with a lot with North America is by the time you get to that second week, after you lost that first game of the week, you're pretty much done. And it's over with, and that just is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. The roster at the time was Someday, Anda, Ryu, Rikara, and Aphromoo. Aphromoo coming off a MVP split, I believe in spring, but the downturn into Worlds wasn't great. So people didn't really have much faith in 100 Thieves going into this. More people had faith in the 3rd seed C9 than they did 100 Thieves, and that turned out to be kind of valid because C9 would ramp up throughout the entire tournament, go on to make semifinals in an otherwise weak year for Korea, and we missed out 2-4. In the one group that notably did not have a Korean team there, unfortunately in the year where they were all relatively weak. So, you know, screw us, right? But hey, it's all on your own. When it comes to Worlds, you have to earn your weight. Let's shift to 2021, the year where we go in for the one and only time ever as the 1 seed from North America, winning Summer Split. Going in, you had the roster of Someday, Closer, Abadage, FBI, and Huhi. This team would make back-to-back Worlds, but starting with this first one in 2021. This was the year that a lot of people look back and be like, oh, but they got a win over EDG. Unfortunately, that win was kind of in garbage time. I went back and re-looked at the specific progression of games that we played, and we once again go 1-2 in that first week, a stock standard thing for North America, but you have to get a win over one of the Asian teams, who unfortunately for us was eventual champions EDG. Again, the second time that 100 Thieves has been at Worlds and they get the champion of the entire tournament in their group, and T1. Granted, not the current iteration of T1, but still T1 at Worlds. That would go on to, I think, semifinals that year, losing to Damwon, who would eventually lose to EDG at finals. But same story, 1-2 in that first week. You need to win that first game to stand a chance. After T1 notably did have a weaker week 1, so you have to look at this and say, okay, this is the match you need to win, otherwise everything else after it is pointless. And unfortunately, they didn't beat T1, as is like the case for NA at Worlds 99% of the times. You just don't beat the Eastern team. So because they didn't do that, they're sitting at 1-3 it would be. They then beat the minor region team and they beat EDG. So they finished with this record that looks great in 3-3, but in actuality really didn't matter all that much because you won garbage games at the end whenever pressure was off, which is the major, not factor, but key for 100 Thieves that you will start to see as we then progress into 2022 with the same roster. For whatever reason, the org, whenever the pressure is on the most, is not able to live up to the hype. We falter, we crumble. The 2022 year is one that we, as North American fans, try to ignore. It is historically our worst performance at Worlds ever. Nobody in North America won a match during week one. Literally nobody. And we were the only group at the time that had CFO or CTB Flying Oysters, which is now like CFO in modern day, in our group. And we lost to them in week one. And it was like, okay, so all hope is like officially lost. Like we're just done. And 100 Thieves, our reputation at that point at Worlds honestly was completely tarnished. EG at least had an excuse. They had a sub. They had Kaori coming in for Danny. For C9, like, I hate to say it, but we kind of knew their playstyle was overrated. And we knew North America wasn't like going to be great in general, but C9 at least had the prior year of making it out to bounce back on. For 100 Thieves, this is now their third year straight, well, not straight, but third year of like attending Worlds where it has just bombed out miserably in the group stage with like no hope. So people just don't have this faith in the organization, in the brand, and like everything behind it. The second they step on the international stage, it's, oh, this squad is going to lose whenever you need them to win the most. And the worst part is that became even more true in 2024. I know this is doomer. I'm sorry, I just got to call it straight like it is. 2024 ended up being, if 2022 was the worst year for North America as a whole at Worlds, at least we had FlyQuest that like did well at 2024. 2024 was individually the worst year that 100 Thieves would ever have in North America. You combine that with the sale of the slot and all the problems that happened, like the end of last year was just god awful. 100 Thieves for the first time ever at Worlds in 2024 with a roster of Sniper, River, Quid, Meech was subbed out. It was Tomo that came in, and then Ayla in support. Drops the ball hard in the play-in stage. First series that we go up should be a guaranteed win against R7. Lose 2-1 to Summit, notably. So it's like, oh, not great. We go down into the losers bracket because you can still win the next two series and get out. We win 2-0 over, I think it was SHG was the minor region team that we played there. And then we went up against PSG, who, if you go back to 2024, they were in incredible shape. They were one of these teams that you expected to possibly maybe make a run if things went their way. At least at MSI, at Worlds, it felt like they were a little bit weaker, but they were still a powerhouse that had to be reckoned with. And we got 2-0 smashed by them. FlyQuest would then go on to beat them later in the tournament, showing that it wasn't a North America problem. It was just like a 100 Thieves problem. It was an us thing. And this particular roster, in that moment, reconfirm something that people were worried about with finals a little bit, but more so on this particular stage where, like, in the biggest moments, Quid and River have problems. River, like, it's been a known thing for an extended period of time. For Quid, again, new to that stage. And you sit there and you say, okay, well, you know, Worlds is his own pressure thing, even though he's only playing in the LEC studio, which only has 300 people there, so the pressure in theory is less. There is still this problem. Sniper also not performing when it mattered most in that moment. The whole team just like collapsed entirely. I will never forget the Quid Vex game. That just stands out in my mind as like, oh no, we're running it. Like we are straight up inting in this game, and it's not pretty, and we're throwing anything we can at the wall to see if it sticks, and it's just not. So going into this year, the problem is going to be, and I cannot sit here and provide you a valid reason to not believe that 100 Thieves should not have your like support when it comes to the international stage. Not in terms of fandom, obviously. Like, you should obviously be fans of the North American team. We're NA. I will sit here and cheer on C9 if they're at international play. I've said that before. You've seen that in 2023 and 2022 if you follow me long enough, despite how much I freaking hate them. The problem was we had a very easy chance to prove that we could step up and get over those big stage fears at LCS finals 2 weeks ago. And once again, we dropped the ball on an even smaller stage than what we're going to be dealing with next week. So I can't honestly sit here and tell you that things are going to be looking great. If you go into this, on paper, we might be one of the weakest squads in the entire tournament. I would say still above some European teams because I don't count Europe. I think Europe as a region is a little bit weaker, but like on a good day, we are still better. We're like we are just below FlyQuest level whenever we're popping off. It was shown that way when we were playing in the studio finals back in summer. But for whatever reason, when we get to that big stage and that big moment, River and Quid have issues. Dokla wasn't playing with the team. Dokla I expect to bounce back a little bit. He's played on bigger stages. That just felt like an anomaly. But River and Quid, like those issues are very much there. And I can't sit here and help much on that. The bigger problem that I think we also have going into this Worlds is something that hasn't been talked about really much in the media space. And that is, we know that FlyQuest, at the time of recording this, I'm recording this on Monday it's now basically like 5:30 p.m. FlyQuest is in Korea, and we know that. Games start in a week and 2 days. We have not heard a peep from 100 Thieves. The only thing that was mentioned was from, I think, Spooks in an interview at LTA Finals, maybe with either Mahir or Cloudsticky, I can't remember who. But he mentioned that they were a little bit late on their visas, which is going to be a problem. And they're still not there. You have 1 week to cram against Eastern teams and try and level up to the point that you need to be at to be able to contend with these teams on the international stage. If we are just showing up a few days before this tournament, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be real bad. We have no time at all to prep, to overcome these issues, to work on the stage. I mean, the stage nerves you can't really do anything about until you're up there, but you can at least get like comfortable in the situation and be fine. So I'm honest to God, like going into this World, absolutely terrified of what is going to happen for 100 Thieves. We have nothing going our way going into this tournament. They just announced Sentinels as the org that is going to replace 100 Thieves going into next year. So people are hyped about that. And it's like 100 Thieves kind of can bomb out quietly, but I'm worried about like individual player things where like if River doesn't have to worry about this because he's supposedly retiring, but for Quid, like you are starting to see people say, oh, is it a 100 Thieves environment or is it a Quid thing that he is collapsing on the big stage and missing key abilities and getting nervous and not being able to handle these situations? We don't know. We've only ever seen him in 100 Thieves. So like he's still going to get a spot next year, to be very clear. Like nothing about this run, even if he goes and bombs at Worlds, like 0-4, loses every single game. Like I don't think that matters all that much. Quid is still getting a spot, but it is a potential problem that he needs to start remedying in some way, shape, or form. And this tournament could help him out a lot. Like you're not going to get 4 massive games like this on a big stage to try and help quell those nerves a little bit like you will here. Simple as that. So to wrap this whole thing up, we are at significant risk to go out in a true 100 Thieves fashion the same way that we came in, not looking competitive at all in the group stage. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping things happen over the next week to inspire confidence, but it kind of is what it is. Like I said, I'm going to do a full retrograde on like everything 100 Thieves next week. And I know there's probably going to be people that tag me, and they tag me on the day of LTA finals itself that, hey, you know, I got my name on the shirt, like the thank you to all the Thieves who have been along for the process. And I'll talk about it more next week, but I'm just honestly honored to get my name on that in any way, shape, or form. DK did put one aside for me. He's going to ship it out. I am going to get it framed. I'm not going to wear it. I'm getting it framed with a picture of, I think me with, I don't know. I'm going to pick probably two pictures from my 100 Thieves fandom over the last 5 years and get it framed and have it sitting up on my wall is like my final goodbye to the Thieves fandom. It will always be a part of me, no matter what the next journey is going to be. But I am sad to see it go. But I don't want to I don't want to cry until next episode. When we talk about everything next week, I'm just warning you. When we talk about everything, when this is all said and done, I'm going to cry. Got my word, you got my promise. It is 100% going to happen. But until then, save those tears for another day, in the words of Abel Tesfaye, because we got a Worlds run to possibly make. And when I tell you that Summer Split was the Cinderella story, I don't think there's words for what a run from 100 Thieves to get out of Swiss stage would be in this particular tournament. David versus Goliath has jack all on what could possibly happen here. I'll see you around.